Lady Gaga is coming to the Super Bowl. The question is she going to continue to attack the American people? Is she going to make an absolute spectacle of herself? I say the answer is almost certainly yes. She has not had a history of exactly being a petite little wallflower. So today we're going to talk about the consequences of what happens if Hollywood decides to go to war with the middle of America, especially in the football field. And coming up in our second segment, we've got an American story that made me very happy, almost made me cry. So we've got a special video to show you about that too. Today is the third day of February. It's a Friday, 2017. I'm Bill Whittle, and this is Bill Whittle Live. Well, what's it going to be, folks? What's it going to be? That's the question of the day. You know, there's no other burning down news. The question is going to be, what are we going to see on Super Bowl Sunday, which, of course, is in a lot of ways kind of the most uniquely American holiday that we have. It's really when the country gets a chance to just sort of relax, and it's not really attached to any politics. That's kind of the beautiful thing about Super Bowl Sunday. You know, it's just. It just is Super Bowl Sunday. It's not doing anything. It's not trying to make any points. It's not trying to hammer anything home. It's not about veterans. It's not about war. It's not about labor. It's not about presidents. It's not about independence. It's not about anything really, except Americans having a lot of fun and relaxing and enjoying maybe a cookout or a beer or a couple beers or 50 beers and some fun commercials, which has gotten to be as much a part of Super Bowl Sunday as just about anything else. But last year we saw Beyonce, and Beyonce got up there, and she was dressed in kind of this paramilitary outfit with what looked like, bandoleros around her, and she was doing a lot of stuff that basically seemed pretty clear to most Americans to be supporting the Black Lives Matter movement. And now we have as a halftime guest Lady Gaga, who's going to be performing on Sunday. And the signs are not exactly good. So aside from the fact that we're going to speculate just a tiny little bit on this, I'm really more interested in the management decision on this on the part of the NFL, because they've had a rough year. So first of all, let's talk about Lady Gaga. She's sent out a tweet just recently showing she's preparing for the Super Bowl. This is the tweet that she just sent out. So I think the tweet said something to the effect of, if you want to see what's going to go on Sunday, this is pretty much it. So we got that to work with. Good Lord Almighty. What do we say about something like that? It's just okay. So it's Lady Gaga. She is a show person. She's a good performer. We've been seeing some amazing performances in the Super Bowl. And Super Bowl halftime is almost it's almost as important as the game is, really. But the problem is, what is she going to do, and what is she going to say, and what's going to be political and what's not? And I don't have a good feeling about it. She said she was asked already about her show, and all she really said was she's going to be talking about the values of equality and inclusion, and that America is a land of love and compassion, and that's what the show is going to be about. Well, okay. America is a land of love and compassion. But one of the things I don't hear much about these days, and we used to hear quite a lot about, is the idea that it's a land of love and compassion because it's defended. It's a land of love and compassion because it's got laws. It's a land of love and compassion because the citizens of this country are hardworking, decent, generous people who, until very recently, simply wanted to be left alone and lead their own lives and just go on their business. And the reason that everybody is so stressed, the reason that liberals are having meltdowns, the reason so many conservatives had such a horrible time during the Obama administration is simply because the progressives have to insert politics into everything. There's nothing that cannot be made or should not be made political if you're a progressive. And the Super Bowl is kind of the last bastion almost of what you might call traditional American values, but at the very least apolitical values. But no, we're not going to be spared that either, I don't think. I think on Sunday we're going to get a lecture about how racist we are and how homophobic we are, transphobic we are, how misogynist we are. We're going to get a lecture, I suspect. I don't know, maybe she'll pleasantly surprise me, and if that's the case, I'll start off on Monday by thanking her for not subjecting to this, but when she says it's going to be about equality and inclusion, we have a pretty good idea what's coming. So what's actually happening here? Why is this going on? I don't want to beat this into the ground because it's beatable into the ground. Progressives think style matters over substance, and it's been this way for a long time. So I suspect that once again, one of the enlightened members of our community, a very small number, of course, just practically a microscopic number of people with actual educations who care about things like love and compassion and so on, are going to be out there giving the great unwashed masses, the huge numbers of brutal, vicious, knuckle-dragging savages that they're occasionally forced to perform for. It's an opportunity for her to give us another lesson in our moral advancement and give Hollywood and the progressives a chance to really explain to the American people how they should be thinking and what they should be doing. Let me tell you what bothers me so much about this. When she comes out and says, no, this is going to be a show about love and compassion and inclusion and all the rest of it, my feeling is, yeah, okay, who's against this? Who is against this? This is how they demonize conservatives and Republicans. They say, we're about compassion and love and we hate war. Well, guess what? We're about compassion and love too, and we hate war too. And the reason that we want such a strong military is not because we want to see our guys killed and we want to see people bombed, because we understand enough about reality, we read enough history, we know enough about people's perspectives and about aggressive behavior of savages and barbarians, because that's what they are. We know what it takes to stop these people, and what it takes is strength. It takes strength to stop aggression from overseas and from dictators and brutality. And none of that is celebrated, but included in what Lady Gaga and all the rest of the progressives say about this is basically this. What's included in this is, we're compassionate people and you're not. Well, if you're such compassionate people, progressives, how come your policies have caused the destruction of Black America? How come we're at, what is the number? I don't know. Is it 50? I'm not sure, Neil. I think it's maybe 50 murders already in Chicago in 2017 at the end of January. If you're so full of compassion, how come everything that you do to this country sucks? How come, if you're so full of compassion, you've created a country that is far, far, far meaner, nastier, more dangerous than it was 40 or 50 years ago when the Super Bowl got started, 52 years ago now, something like that, I think. Why? Why? If you're so full of love and compassion, how come things have gotten so much worse? Even among the Black community, in fact, especially among the Black community. One of the things that the progressives will trot out is, oh, yes, you white American racists all love the 50s because, the Black man was kept down. Listen, when there were actual discrimination laws in effect, everybody I know was a liberal back then. We were traditional liberals. We believe in individualism. We believe in private property. We believe in responsibility. And if people are being harmed, then we want that harm to be removed. That's not what's happening today. For 50 years now, 52 years now at least, we've been watching Black America become a vote plantation for these progressives as they lecture us on how mean-spirited we are and tell the Black community that if it weren't for them to save them, the vicious Republicans would have them living in a nightmare world. Well, what does that world look like to you right now in Detroit or Baltimore or Chicago or Atlanta or any of these places? Where? What does it look like to you? Doesn't look that good to me. Oakland? No. It's their policies that have caused this problem. So I don't need to be lectured by somebody who's going to get up there and sing in a meat suit or something, telling me why I have to be kinder and I have to be more inclusive. I'm plenty kind and plenty inclusive. I just don't see what you're doing as working. And just because you say that you guys are compassionate doesn't mean that you are, and it doesn't mean that we're not either. Genuine compassion, actual love, the kind of things you talk about, require some strength. There's not a parent out there today watching this show, there's not a person out there today watching this who doesn't understand, who's an actual parent, a good parent, doesn't understand that you do not raise good children by simply giving them everything they want, or alternatively, neglecting them the way that the Democrats have neglected Black America and tossing them a couple of food pellets every 2 years. That's not love. Love is not tolerant of things like addiction, crime, murder, out-of-wedlock births. Genuine love for people does not include any of those things. And if you actually love somebody enough, you will do the difficult thing in order to make them better. You will sacrifice your own comfort for theirs in a way that you would sacrifice for your children. being a parent doesn't mean buying your kids everything all the time. It means having enough love for them, enough courage for them to say, no, we're not going to do this. It's bad for you. The Democrats don't do this, but they lecture us about it all the time. And I suspect on Sunday, we're going to get a whole face full of all this. So there's that whole aspect of it. Now, a bigger issue to me, a more important issue to me, is simply the business aspect of it, simply the decision of it. I don't understand what's going on here. If Lady Gaga comes out and trashes Donald Trump, she's trashing the half of the country that voted for Donald Trump. It's not so hard to figure out. The NFL's ratings are down 15, 16%, almost 20% this year. This is not a particularly exciting Super Bowl where everybody's going, wow, I can't wait to see this so-called New England Patriots in the Super Bowl. What an amazing experience that'll be. It's just come on. No. And if the NFL is going to hire people for halftime shows who tell the half of the country that goes to Super Bowl games that they're idiots and racists, then this is going to be the worst business decision since New Coke. It's absolutely madness, and it's insanity. What do you expect? What do you expect your ratings to do when you throw the spotlight on a guy like Colin Kaepernick, who's made, what was it, $12 million to be as mediocre as he can be and take a knee during the national anthem because of this horrible land of oppression where a mixed race kid hasn't got much in life to look forward to except a $20 million contract and playing quarterback for the NFL? Is that the kind of living hell that Colin Kaepernick is protesting against? Is he protesting against the fact that something like 257 blacks were killed by police in 2014? But I got to get these numbers back memorized again. Something like 6,000 weren't. 4% of the total black homicides in 2014 were caused by police under any circumstances, not just shooting unarmed people. So that's what he's going to take a knee about in this awful America of theirs. All of this stuff is tied together, and it's not tied together in a conspiratorial way. It's not tied together beneath the surface. It's not tied together behind the scenes. It's tied together right out there in the open. These thugs that are breaking down windows and burning universities and setting cars on fire are doing it because they've been taught their entire lives that America's an evil, horrible place and capitalism is an evil, horrible system, and they're gonna and this is just justice. This is just what they do in order to get justice. If Lady Gaga comes out and does that on the Super Bowl, she's simply reinforcing the motivation that all of these thugs and potential murderers and certainly assailants have, and they're just going to get bolder and they're just going to do more of it, and it's criminally irresponsible is what it is. It's criminally irresponsible. I've never seen anything like this, not only in America, I've never seen anything like this in the world. I've never seen an entire political party just simply decide they want to stomp out of the room, take their football, and go home. And they don't even play football, right? That's the thing. They don't even play football. This is the part that's such a mystery to me. It's just such astonishingly bad management. It's just bad decision-making. It's bad business. The NFL is a multi-billion-dollar monster. It's a cash machine that is being destroyed for reasons I can't understand. Is it because the networks are so progressive? ESPN has turned into basically, here's the top 10 liberal plays of the day. Is it the management is so progressive? Is that they think that by being cozy with the government and with the progressives, they're going to get a better deal? Is it that they fear the FCC? What is it that's causing these idiots to alienate the people that are coming to their games? Meryl Streep was accidentally right when she said if you take all the actors away, there's going to be nothing but mixed martial arts and football. And NASCAR, which is closing on the NFL super fast, and the NFL it's inconceivable to me why they're doing this. Inconceivable for me. However, if they decide to do this in Houston, Texas, after the election of Donald Trump, if we see or hear anything that starts to sound like, by the way, you idiots, I'm here from California to tell you how racist you are, I suspect the boos are going to come raining down like they've never rained down in the Super Bowl before. I think we are going to hear an absolute cacophony of people who have had enough of this. We've had enough of this. Lady Gaga has an opinion, that's fine. She can have her political opinion. If she wants to tweet it out to her fans, that's America. She's welcome to do it. She's wrong, and she's superficial, and she's naive, and she's not very bright, but that's you're right, as an American. But if it turns out that the American people think that they've been paying all of this money for season tickets, all of this money, a huge amount of money to get into any football game, let alone the Super Bowl, if the kind of people who watch football and love America go to a game that costs hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to get into, and in the middle of watching two football teams play each other, they're just constantly hectored about how stupid and racist and nasty they are, then the NFL is simply going to take a huge hit. And it deserves it. It deserves it. It deserves a huge hit. Which kind of brings me to my conclusion, which is what we started on with this subject, and that's simply this. Can you progressives please, I already know the answer to this, not like I have to ask, but just rhetorically, can you please leave some small areas of politics alone? Because if you don't, we're going to have to start fighting back. And we already did fight back. We won a big election against all of you people who always think you're so much smarter than we are. You're not. You're wrong. You're wrong about everything. It's your right to be wrong, but do you have to inject it into everything? Do elementary school kids have to be indoctrinated now? Do we have to tell elementary school kids about what a horrible country they live in? Do we have to tell 4-year-olds that just because of what this guy's father voted for, the earth is going to burn and you're going to drown? Don't know whether you're going to drown first or burn first, but it's going to be both and you're not going to like it. Do we have to constantly, every single thing we do, riding a bicycle, riding a skateboard, driving a car, flying in an airplane, does hygiene, health, what we eat, who we talk to, what we say, how we say it, where we say it, do our religion and our spending, and we're going to take half of your money in order to tell you what you should think about everything all the time? It's essentially Islam, for God's sake. What happened to people being left alone? What happened to a football game being about the Atlanta Falcons versus the New England Patriots? Why do we have to constantly be told what to think by people who just lost, by people who have just been utterly, completely discredited? They've been discredited in America. They're discredited in Britain. They're going to be discredited in the EU. France is going to go. Italy's going to go. Germany's going to be the EU, at which point it'll be Germany again. And all of this stuff they tell us about being on the wrong side of history and how we're just these dinosaurs and how progressivism is inevitable is exactly wrong, and the evidence is indicating it's wrong. Now, listen, I'm the first person to admit that back in, let's say, November 7th of 2016, I was ready to fight this one to the death and just hang on there and just keep fighting until I couldn't fight anymore. But it's turned out that it's not the conservatives who are on the wrong side of history, and it's turned out it's not the Republicans whose end is in sight as a party. It's just the opposite. So for those progressives out there watching, let me just close with a personal message to our dear friends on the other side of the aisle. Your economic policies are nonsense. They don't work. You cannot borrow your way into prosperity. You cannot go deeper in debt to get richer. You can do it for a little while as long as your credit lasts, but that is long-term destructive, and if you continue to do it, you're going to go bankrupt. You're going to take the world with you. That's number one. Number two, the people that we defend ourselves against are not people who just happen to be misunderstood. You're the people who misunderstand the threats to this country. You misunderstood communism. You misunderstood Islam and jihadis. You misunderstand all of it. You think that it's somehow a sort of a disagreement, or not even a disagreement. Like, if only we really listened to them and understood how they thought, and if only they knew us, then we'd be automatic friends. No. The people who are coming to kill people like Lady Gaga, specifically Lady Gaga, are not people who we can sit in a hot tub with and over a couple of Chardonnays come to a reasonable conclusion. It doesn't work like that. They have an agenda too. They have a 700-800-year-old agenda. Their agenda is much older than our agenda is, and they have objectives. One of those objectives is to take over this country, take over the world. It's not just paranoid America. It's not that I'm inventing that. This isn't my opinion. This is what they wrote in the book. If I stood here and quoted Bible verses to you that said that Christianity must spread across the world and anyone who resists Christianity must be put to the sword. Now, you can argue that there were cases where that happened in history, but you cannot argue that Jesus said these things. It's not what Jesus taught. No, these people want to kill you. Lady Gaga and all your little monsters, your progressives, and that's a term of affection for them, and it's a term of affection for me too. Don't you understand? Don't you understand that we are the people that are protecting your ability to be fabulous? Don't you understand that? Don't you understand that these people that you get up and insult every single day through your pop media are the people that defend your right to be fabulous or stupid? Don't you understand that? Don't you realize that there are young men and women who are in horrible places right now? They're in deserts, or they're in the bowels of ships, or they're in submarines, or whatever. They're right this second. They are out there protecting your life, to your right to be stupid, and your right to be naive, and your right to be a child. And all they get for this is this constant ongoing contempt and disrespect, even at a football game. Honestly, folks, honestly, and when I say folks, I mean you progressive folks out there, it's over. It's over now. It's over. It's not just what Donald Trump will do as a president. It's what the election did. The election was the giant calling out of the progressive movement is what it is, which is just moral preening and economic and political and personal disaster. That's what the election was. It's over. The emperor is naked. Your emperor's gone. He's not missed. He's not even noticed. His entire legacy was written in pencil. His regulations are written in disappearing ink. It's over. He's gone. I saw a cover of Newsweek checking out of a grocery store last night with my beautiful fiancée, who I suspect is watching now. How's it going, Nadia? And it was a special edition Time, Obama, 8 years, and it was just a picture of Obama looking seriously at the camera. Nothing else, just a white background. I thought, what else are you going to put on this cover except a white background? There's nothing he did. It was 8 years of opportunity gone. That's what the Obama years were. This is what the progressives want to insult us with and shove down our throats. And if it happens on Super Bowl Sunday, I will never watch the NFL on TV again until I start seeing something that looks like actual patriotism, or at the very least, politically neutral coverage of football games. If she does it on this one, I feel strongly, if it's true for me, I think it's true for a lot of people. If we get lectured on this Super Bowl after this election, then the NFL can just go pound sand. They can go pound sand. They can play for themselves. There's not a whole lot of Meryl Streeps and a whole lot of Sarah Silvermans are going to be in Houston rooting for the Patriots or the Falcons. They're not there. That's not your audience, you morons. My dad was a hotel manager, and he provided excellent customer service. The best hotel manager I ever saw. And he made people feel comfortable. And the idea of my father having a hotel and putting a big sign that says, "Go Trump, go," over the front door would have been absolutely inconceivable to him. He would have said something to the effect of, why am I going to lose half of my potential business for something that we have nothing to do with? Why would I do that? If he was alive today, I'd make him NFL commissioner. The ratings would be up, the numbers would be up, and everything else would be up, and that would be a much better story. But there we go. So, again, if all of this turns out to be nothing and Lady Gaga gets up there and says, "What an amazing country. We love this country. It's a great land, and congratulations, America," she doesn't have to back Trump. But if it's a non-political speech, then I'll apologize on Monday morning, and I'm happy to be wrong. I'm very happy to be wrong, which is why I'm not happy very often. And now I think we will start our segue into the second part of the show, which is made possible by the paying members. And today will be the last day that the Bill Whittle Live Show is open completely for free on Facebook. I suspect we'll do a free Friday. Today's Friday, so probably get a full show on Friday. But for the rest of it, you'll be a member at BillWhittle.com. I think technically, as soon as we get it done technically, we'll continue to stream the audio, obviously, for anybody who wants to continue watching. But I think that model that they're doing over at the Daily Wire is a good one. They're showing people what they're missing, and then they're telling them, hey, this costs money, and it's not fair to the people who pay to continue to give it away to the people who don't. So if you want to keep watching the show, I sure would love to have you. I love doing it, and I'm having a great time. We get analysis every single day and a little view of what might be useful to you at the water cooler, and at the very least, it's a dose of common sense, and it's a recognition that you're not actually nuts. And it's 33 cents a day. If you want to go to BillWhittle.com and click Become a Member, we would love to have you. Certainly would very much love to have you. You're either helping or you're not, and we think we're doing good work. So all this last week, we premiered 3 videos on economics. We did one on money and one on socialism, and then one on capitalism yesterday. And today I have another video for you. It's about 5-6 minutes long. And I'll let it tell most of the story, but the short form is when Natasha, my fiancée, came to visit out here in the summer, I got to meet some friends of hers down in Orange County, and in the space of about 15 or 20 minutes, I thought their story was so remarkable. I was absolutely mesmerized by it. And the reason I was mesmerized by it was because I wasn't sure I'd ever hear a story like this again. It's an immigration story. It's a story about people coming to America the way that people had always come to America. It's a story about people coming to America for the right reasons, to do the right things, and in the right way. It's been so long since I heard a story like that I decided I wanted to help out that story. So I actually cut this video over the course of it took me darn near 3, 4, 5 months, almost 6 months, I guess, because I'm not loaded with free time here. But I put this video together to tell the story of my friends Sasha and Slava and some of the people they worked with. The reason this appealed to me so much is because everything is in this story, everything that matters to me. And so I thought I might show it to you, and if you're interested, you can help them out in their GoFundMe project. I helped them out with this video, and I helped them out financially as much as I could. So let me introduce you briefly for about 6 or 7 minutes to Sasha and Slava and their Freedom Church. And as soon as we're done with that, I will come back and we'll just have a quick little wrap up, and then we'll call it a day. Neil, hit the button.
My name is Slava Dmitrieva.
My name is Sasha Dmitriev.
And we are pastors from Moscow to start Freedom Church in California.
Мой дедушка был
My grandfather was a highly ranking communist in Russia. He was a very good person, very nice man, but he absolutely did not believe in God. In my life, I once had a dramatic experience. One of my friends was killed by the police. He was just an 18-year-old kid. It made me seriously consider the existence of God and that everything happens for a reason. I repented, came to Christ, and He changed my entire life. I became a youth pastor, fully devoted myself to the church. It was a big, strong church in Western Ukraine.
Once my friend invited me to Christian party in the church, and we came, and there were like 300 young people sitting there, and my future husband Sasha, he was standing in front with a microphone and telling something funny, and I thought, he must be a very good husband. That was my thought. It was very strange for me also.
I told my wife on our first date, "Dear, if we're going to date, we will get married. And once we get married, that means we will leave this place as missionaries."
I asked him whether he asked everyone on the first date about missionaries, and he said, I didn't have a lot of first dates. Being a missionary, I didn't know what I expected it to be. When I accepted Jesus, it changed me a lot, because before that, I didn't believe in good families, actually. And when I became Christian, and that changed my mind at all. I saw many good families, I saw good children, and I understand that that's the reason for living, you know. That's the reason how I want to live, and I want to spread that. I want to tell young people that you can have good families, you can have good children, you can have good future with God.
When we were thinking about the name of our church, we came up with the cool idea to call it Freedom, because we understood that we need freedom from our sins, freedom from slavery mindset, freedom from drugs, freedom from debts, freedom from things that push you down. What does Christ do? He makes people free.
To get people into our church, we had to do different events, because people in Russia, they do not understand the church as people. They think the church is the building. We did like different parties, Thanksgiving days, all Russian holidays, all holidays at all that we can find. We celebrated everything. We did different contests, like talent contests. We even have like literature evenings where people telling verses, everything. So we did everything that we could to invite people to church.
Right now in our country, they recently ratified a law called Yerevoy. It does not allow us to share our faith. It does not allow me to gather in my home with my family, with my friends, to read or pray. I don't have the right to tell my neighbor that God can heal you, that God can set you free. It's illegal. When we sensed a deep calling to leave our country and go to America, we were very surprised. Because America is a Christian country. There are so many Christians, many churches, many Russian-speaking people are moving here in LA to live, and here there is a large community.
It was a very big surprise for me when I understood that we have to go to United States. Why United States? Why not any other place? But we knew that inside of us, and we believed God. If He says so, He knows why. So we said, okay, God, let's do it.
Мы просим у вас помощи сейчас,
We ask for your help right now to help us this first year of our church, so that we can fully focus on launching Freedom Church. We came from a lawless country where inequity rules. We do not want to live on welfare or just take government handouts now or ever.
государству, и никогда не будем.
We teach people that you have to be a blessing. You don't have to. You do not have to be a person who receives. You have to be the person who gives. We want them to be real Christians here, and we want their children to be real Americans. We believe that our church is real God's church, and God makes very good people and good citizens.
Мы уже доказали, что наша
We recently proved that we can work hard and our church can serve and fully support itself.
сама себя обеспечивать. Мы хотим здесь, в Калифорнии, начать сеть церквей.
Our dream is to launch here in California a network of freedom churches that can start English courses for Russian people who are coming so they can integrate into American culture, speak the language fluently, and our services will be in Russian and English simultaneously.
На русском и на английском языке одновременно. Спасибо вам, что вы выслушали нашу историю, и мы надеемся, что вы поможете распространять Христа в этой нации.
Thank you very much that you've listened to our story, and we hope that you will help us to spread Jesus Christ in this nation.
Well, that's Sasha and Slava, who I got to meet and who I got to like very, very much. And I don't want to spend too much time on this point, but there's so much about this that impressed me. First thing that impressed me actually was their unbelievable eagerness to understand the American political system. Sasha and Slava right now they're cleaning homes, they're scrubbing floors in order to keep this dream of theirs alive. They work very, very hard, and they had another couple living with them, Zhenya and Elena, and they could not get enough of this whole Constitution idea. They simply soaked it up. They kept asking me questions. How does this work? And I tell them about the 3 different branches of government, and I talk about the separation of powers and checks and balances and all of this stuff, and they were just like sponges. They had come from a country where a law had been passed that said that you cannot speak about religion of any kind if you're not in a church. You can't say the words Jesus Christ. You can't talk to anybody about religion unless you're in an official church. And they said, well, that's just, that's it. They made this church happen out of nothing. But the thing that most impressed me and the thing I liked most about them was how unbelievably similar they were to us, to those of us who are on this, on the same side of the team here. How much they valued hard work and how much they valued being good citizens and how much they valued. They named their church Freedom. This whole idea of handouts and so on is just anathema to them. And the thing that's given me so much benefit from being with them is seeing this country through their eyes and watching them. They watched this election like, I was almost saying like a football game. It's almost like watching the sunrise. They simply could not believe that the person with all of the power and all of the connections and all of the culture, that person could lose. It was just didn't happen back in Russia. It happens here. So anyway, that's their story, and they're very good people. The church is a great church. The donation is tax deductible. It's on my Facebook page directly. I guess it'd be directly below this Bill Whittle live post. I did that video for him because I just love him. During Thanksgiving, one of the things they did to raise attendance in their church in Moscow was to have Thanksgiving dinner. That was by far the biggest event they ever had. So that appealed to me enormously, that there are Russians in Moscow who are going to a church to get an American Thanksgiving dinner, because the entire idea of being grateful and humble and being happy with the government and a land was just so compelling to them and so unusual. So they were going to do a Thanksgiving dinner here in California this last November, but fortunately I intervened there, and with the enormous help of Boston Market, I was able to produce, roast turkey and sweet potatoes and mashed potatoes and some corn on the cob and pumpkin pie and all the rest of it. And we're chowing down there at the house, and it's like, boys, this is what freedom tastes like. And they get it. So I helped them as much as I could with this, and I helped them as much as I could financially. I'm not going to ask for any personal favors or anything, but I did want to introduce you to actual Americans who just happen to be born in a different country and who've decided to come here legally, and who are looking at tens of thousands of dollars of bills for lawyers and so on. You know, you could have just said, hey, why don't you guys just fly into Mexico City, take a bus north, and just cross on over like everybody else? But they come from a country without law and without, without any kind of sense of decency or citizenship. And they said, no, we're not going to do that. So right now they're down in Orange County and they have a little cleaning business and they're cleaning floors. But I think the idea of having a place for immigrants from Eastern Europe to come and not just learn the language, but to learn how to become Americans. That's what they like. They want to teach people how to become Americans. They love this country. They love it enough to come all the way over here and work for very, very, very low wages. And I had thought that was over. They don't want to start a Russian-American community. They want to teach Russian immigrants how to speak English. And they want to teach them how our government works. And they want to make them good American citizens. They want to come here and stay here. And they want to help other people come here and stay here too, as Americans. And that's my entire theory of America right there. I saw these people and I thought, okay, these people are Americans who were born in a foreign country. And it reminded me so much of the Ronald Reagan quote that just almost always makes me cry when he talks about people in those distant lands who are hurtling through the darkness towards home. You know, not all the Americans in the world get to be born in America. Sometimes they're born overseas, and they have to get here. And I met a couple of them, and I really admire them. And I checked out the church, and the whole thing's legitimate. So if you'd like to make a cash deductible donation to their Freedom Church here in America, then you can certainly do so. And the link is directly below this on my Facebook page, and I'll post it again. I'll be coming back to them a couple more times on the Facebook page because they deserve our help, I think, as much as anybody I've ever met. I think that'll do it for February 3rd, 2017. That's Friday. Heading up to a speaking event in Sacramento tomorrow, just up and right back again. I was hoping we'd have nice weather up the coast, but looks like it's raining like hell here. On Monday, we will have hopefully made a few more improvements in the set, but starting Monday, we will get this show going and give you as much of it as we can, and then we're going to make it basically members-only content because that just seems fair to me. And for those of you who are members, we're very, very grateful. The electricity that's running this now literally comes from your sacrifice and your generosity, and we never forget it here. And neither does Scott and Steve. We're grateful for it every day, and much in the same way that Sasha and Slav are just grateful to be here. We're grateful to be able to be in this fight and do the best job that we can for this country that we love. And for those of you who become members here, you're keeping us going with that, and you're keeping this product coming out the door, and we're very, very grateful. So it'll be an absolute pleasure to do this show for you guys starting next week. That'll pretty much do it, I think, for Friday the 3rd of February 2017. We'll be back on Monday. I'm sure we'll have something to say about what happened at the Super Bowl halftime, whether it's good or bad. I have a guess, but you never know. Sometimes better things happen. Until then, you guys take care of yourselves out there. Keep your eyes open, and we will see you next week on Monday.